On February 20th, 2025, a mother said goodbye to her son, not knowing that this would be the last conversation they'll ever have. A 2-year-old boy died in his sleep, most likely from a seizure at Grandma's Jones Daycare, which they had a seizure action plan in case he did have a seizure. Calumet City, Illinois is like hour away from the city, depending whether you take the highway or not. Grandma's Daycare has 2 locations. I'm not sure which one in particular this event's happened, but there are photos of both, and just if anyone's familiar with those 2 daycares. The events that took place on February 20th, 2025 started off as a normal day in the daycare. They had their morning routines, and by noon, the children had nap time, so this is when Jaylin took his nap. An hour goes by or so before anyone notices like this kid has suffocated and his lips were blue. Which, if you worked at a daycare facility, this is like a ginormous big no-no. Like, there's always supposed to be like a person or 2 in that room to supervise the children. Once the daycare staff noticed his lips were blue, they started chest compressions and end up calling 911. He was 5 months old when he got diagnosed with epilepsy. The daycare was aware of his condition, and they did have not only emergency meds, but a seizure action plan in case of an emergency. This seizure action plan was for him to take 5 milligrams of diazepam along with the 911 call in case the seizure lasted more than 5 minutes. When cops arrived, they asked the daycare staff of whether he took his emergency meds. While they acknowledged that they had his emergency meds, they admit that they didn't give him any. The paramedics end up giving him his medication, and he was later rushed to England's hospital. The family is frustrated at the daycare, rightfully so, that how come he was unsupervised for an hour. On March 8, 2025, instead of celebrating his 3rd birthday, his family had to bury him. Jasmine Bailey, his mother, said, "Now I only get to talk to my son when I close my eyes." Jaylin Brent Sr., his father, described him as a jack of all trades. Like, he would do cartwheels, he'll do a bunch of stuff while holding a cookie in his hand. The lawyers representing the family are Sierra Norris and Evan Fenke, if I pronounced that right. Sierra Norris did talk to the press, explaining that the family did tell the daycare not only did Jaylin have seizures, but along with the seizure action plan in case he did have an episode there. Nikki said in a press conference if the daycare took proper steps, this child would still be alive, and I absolutely believe that. The daycare responded to the lawsuit saying they are sorry for Jaylin's family and loved ones, and they're saddened by the death. And as they receive the lawsuit, they're gonna follow the legal procedures. And after that, when other questions were asked, they said no more comment. The attorneys call out DCFS and ask them to launch an investigation to this daycare. The sources for me to tell this story was from ABC News Chicago and Chicago Tribune, along with Yahoo News.